Well, hello and welcome back to another video. The last couple of weeks I've been sort of planning this video and doing little bits and pieces towards it. It's been so windy again, so my apologies for some of the for the coming video, which has got quite a bit of wind noise on it. You know, you try your best, but when you're in locations that are pretty exposed and it's windy, it's difficult, so my apologies about that. So yes, since 2015, you know, the decline of the standards is abysmal. You know, we are letting water companies at certain times put raw sewerage into our rivers. The monitoring of our rivers has been cut back drastically. There is less and less testing going on of the water quality and what farmers are doing and what, you know, animal waste and pesticides getting into our, you know, river water. And I find it woeful that in 2022 our rivers are now so polluted. Maybe some of you have seen the abysmal situation on the River Thames. Now there's huge beds which have been made of these flushable wet wipes that have obviously got out into the river through the sewage pollution. And I think last year some volunteer groups picked 27,000 of these flushable wipes close to sites near Battersea Bridge. And they do say that these flushable wipes that are sinking to the bottom of the Thames and polluting it and killing any wildlife that might have survived there, they are actually changing the course and nature of the river. You know, I feel this is totally disgusting. I don't want to get political on my channels because there's too much of that kind of thing on YouTube. To my mind, YouTube is about entertainment, and it's also about things close to your heart and you know, what you feel. So I can understand probably why those people, you know, want to address certain issues. But I think this is terrible. And as I say, this is my own little look. I have been doing a couple of bacterial water tests locally to me. There's only one on the video because I wanted to keep this, you know, relatively short and to the point. You know, you make your point and that's it. You can only do so much. I don't know how we get over this problem. There is a new environmental bill in the UK that came into force in 2021. But that seems it's still got loopholes in it where certainly water companies can at certain times in floods and likewise let sewage into our rivers, and I just think it's dreadful. In part of the video I say to people, you know, what can you do? Well, there's not a lot us ordinary people can do, but I'm certainly going to write. I've got the email address of my MP. I have challenged her over certain things before, and I'm certainly going to write to her with my findings and see what sort of response I get back from her on this. She was at one time a former member of the cabinet and is not anymore, so it'll be interesting to get her response, if I get a response or a response from her office on this issue and what they say. And I will do a little update if and when I get a response back. So there we go. Come with me and watch me do this test and see, and I hope you might find this interesting. So we've all heard about the state of our rivers and whether they're polluted or not. And today I've come down to the river and I thought for interest I would do a bacteria test on this stretch of water to see what we find. There are people further upstream that wild swim in this river. Now obviously the water quality obviously is very important if you are thinking about doing that. So I thought we'd do what is known as a 15-minute bacterial water test, and just for interest, see what the findings are on this water here we have. So I'll get set up anyway. So we've now got our water sample here in this cup, and what we basically do is we reading my instructions here, we use the pipette to get a sample squeezed up into the, like so, which we've done. We've taken our water sample from underneath the water. It's not on the top of the water. That's obviously quite important, I think. And we then squeeze the water into our sample vial, which is right here. That's our sample vial. Then we swirl it about for a little bit. And then we let that stand for 5 minutes. So we've had 5 minutes now, so we swirl our vial about again. Doesn't say how many times, but we'll give it a good swirl. I think that should do us. Then we'll put it into our cup where it should be more upright, and then we have this test stick that has to go in way up. My thing's blown. With a test strip goes in with the arrow facing down into our water, like so, and then we leave that for 10 minutes. So as you can see, our vial is in the cup because it's got to be kept very still and on a level surface. Our test stick is now in with the arrow facing down, and it's just a question now of waiting for 10 minutes. So we've very nearly coming up to 10 minutes now, and what we're looking for is on our test, if you can see, we're just looking for one red line. If we've got 2 red lines, even 2 faint red lines, it'll mean there is bacteria present in this water, of all manner of bacteria. I will put them in text what bacteria this test covers. So we're very nearly there now. We should be lifting our test strip out the vial very shortly. We're coming up to 9:40, and we'll have a look at our strip. And I shall have to put some very old glasses on that I bought with me. So we've got another 10 seconds, and then we'll have a look and see what our test strip is telling us. So there we go, that's 10 minutes. Now we lift it out, and well, there's definitely a clear line for sure. And I mean, we have, I don't know whether you'll see that on there, a little bit of a faint red line above the number 1 as well. It's certainly not blank like it should be there. So we have got a very faint line there. So that does tell me that this water, this river water here, has got, certain contaminations within it. Obviously this test isn't thorough enough to tell me what they might be, so one would have to be very careful in this water, particularly if you're thinking about wild swimming or anything like that. I have got another one of these test strips, and we might take it to another location and do another test, but that, I'm sure, from what I can read there, if I wipe it down, yeah, I mean, that is definitely, hopefully you'll see that on the camera if I hold it close, we have got a faint line under number 1, like if I hold it there. oops, dropped it. There we go. We have got a faint secondary line on our test strip. So, as I say, that does mean that there is a certain amount of bacteria present within this water. So there we go, really. It's quite a shame, really, that, you know, our rivers, you can't really trust them. As I say, I know people do wild swim in this river. I still canoe in this river and wouldn't be necessarily deterred from canoeing in this river. You know, there's always going to be certain issues with wild water, and as long as you take precautions of, you know, washing your hands well, make sure you've got no cuts on your body, or if they are cut, you know, you've got them with a nice waterproof plaster covered over. Paddleboarding and canoeing, you know, shouldn't be too great issues, really. But as for wild swimming, no, I don't think you know, our rivers are really round here and you know, are really clean enough. There is too much outfall still from overflowing sewerage situations that are getting into our water, which is very, very sad, because on the whole this river looks quite clean when you look into it, the water. And funny enough, I've just had a word with two paddleboarders and have come past me, and they were really interested. So if you do find this video and watch it, I hope you got where you were going safely. And as I say, unfortunately, I have found the presence of bacteria in this water. I don't, you know, obviously I have no understanding of how much or what type of bacteria that is, but there's certainly some underlying nasties within the quality of the water here, and that would certainly stop me going in there while swimming, unfortunately. I will go to another location on the river and do another test. I think that's you know, always a good indication. You can't just take one sample of water from one location, but here we are not near any outfall of any sewerage works. That is lower down, and although further upstream is a large town, so obviously we don't know what, you know, runs into the river from that. And this is a very slow running river. In fact, the wind blows it more often than not than a current, as you can see the wind rippling it today. So sad, really, that you know, our water has or is so polluted these days. And I urge everyone with any interest in the countryside, and you might think it does no good, but I urge everyone to write to their MP about this. And these rivers, and I don't care where they are or, you know, how close they are to urban areas, these rivers should in this day and age be crystal clear, the water. And it's very, very sad, I think, really, that our rivers have, you know, become polluted like this. So there we go. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and quite interesting to do that water test. And as I say, this wouldn't stop me coming here canoeing or such like, but I certainly wouldn't go in the water, you know, while swimming. As always, thanks for watching. Please do think about subscribing, liking, sharing, you know, all the usual things. I'd really do appreciate it. I love getting your comments. And I will catch up with you in a video very shortly. Until then, my best wishes and bye for now.